We are live. Yes, 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 yes. More social media strategy to be talked about. Austin, my main man. What's going on, brother?
Not much. How are you,
Nice.
Derek?
I'm doing good, bro. I'm doing good, man. Always having a good time going over these strategies. I was talking to JB a minute ago, and he was like, "Hey, how many more episodes do you have for the social media blueprint?" And I'm like, "Wow, this is episode 7, and we're doing 10." So I'm like, "Man, we only have like 4 more counting this one, so 4 more." But of course, we're strategizing the next series, which maybe we get it out we start that one 2 weeks after we finish this one.
Mhm.
I'm already putting that one together. But I'm excited about it. It's gonna be dope. It's gonna be dope. Something real practical for business owners. But yeah, it's gonna be good. So as always, Mr. Austin does the what do you call it? What do you call it when you're making sure that the viewers are hitting the right buttons? You know what I'm saying? Austin does that, right?
Yeah,
I'm the strategist. Austin's
I
the
don't know the
technician.
word for it,
What's
but
the word? Right. Do
yeah.
your thing, man.
All right. Yeah. So if you're watching this on StreamYard, click the bottom right corner and click on your settings and just make sure that you're set to 1080p.
1080.
Um, and then let's see. The second thing is if you registered for one of these, then at the time of your first registration, you would have gotten an email inviting you to our little community. And this is where you'll be able to kind of chat with other registrants and us ourselves as well. But also, you can watch all of the recordings of these webinars, all of the past ones. All of
Yes.
the webinar worksheets are also uploaded in there, and you can download them from there.
Sweet, 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 sweet. Yes, gentlemen, ladies, the worksheets are extremely vital. Okay. I get it. Sometimes social media can seem overwhelming. It is not. If it becomes too overwhelming, scan that QR code. Let's set up a consultation. I'll talk to you personally. We'll help you out. But in the meantime, those worksheets really matter. Go through the worksheets. Um, we create those worksheets so that you can get used to going through the process of knowing and being intentional about what you're posting. All right. So we're going to jump in. Austin, as always, my brother. Dude, it's always a pleasure, big man.
Likewise.
All right. All right. So we're going to bring up this slide deck for today, and I'm not going to waste too much of your time. We've now reduced our 90-minute webinars. I know, right? I was talking a lot to just 30 minutes. And we want to give room for you guys to ask questions if you have questions, because we definitely want to tackle and knock out some of the concerns you might have. So today, what are we talking about? Today, we're talking about distribution and amplification with social media. Again, this webinar series is for business owners that are looking to take advantage of digital marketing. This is episode 7. Wow. This is my first episode, Derek. We're just jumping in. We're behind. Should we stay for all of it? I'm going to say stay for all of the wonderful things that I want to say to you today, okay? Because um, you can have access to all of the worksheets and all the videos prior to this. Today, we're talking about distribution and amplification, getting your content seen. That is critical. Okay. It is critical that your content is seen. Let me make this larger. And by the way, while I'm going through this, Austin will be putting the worksheet he might be putting the worksheet into the chat, but you will be getting an email for those who've registered to sign up and go into our portal because you have an invite there. It's free, of course. And in that portal, you see all the previous videos as well as the worksheets. So today we're going to be talking about taking your content and making it seen. Many times we'll speak to potential clients that are going to be egghead social clients where we take on their social media responsibilities. We do all the heavy lifting. But before that's established, a lot of times we'll speak with businesses and they'll have great content. Great content. So many of you might already have really good content that you're creating, but you might think it's not that good because you're not receiving a lot of eyeballs and you're not really gaining or building that exposure around it. So today we want to talk about that, right? Mastering the systematic approach to your schedule, what you're posting, how you're posting it, right? How are we going to amplify our content? So today, that's what we want to talk about, right? The distribution of our content, right? So last week we talked about in week 6. Okay, last week we went over some brilliant ideas. We think they're brilliant ideas. Yes, Austin, he just put the worksheet, the webinar worksheet for today is in the, thank you so much, Austin, is in the chat. So please download that worksheet and follow right along. And I would recommend that you really put in those answers to help yourself win with the social media strategies that we're going over. Okay. So last week, okay, we talked about stretching your one content idea and repurposing that into multiple deliverables. What are deliverables? Deliverables is nothing more than content coming from a source. So what's the source? Here's an example. You create a 5-minute video, a great 5-minute video, because every video you create is a great video. So how do we take this one video and not make it just one post? How do we make this one video a multiplication of itself? How do we 9x one video? Okay, we talk about that in week 6. Okay, and now we're going into the next step of amplification. Okay, again, last week we talked about the repurposing mastery of our content. Okay, your content should not be wasted. You make one long amazing video, you go into CapCut, you edit it, and then you post it, and then it's gone. And that's our mindset of like, oh my God, I have to now create more content. No. Rewind. That one great video you made that was 3 minutes long, that was 5 minutes long. We talk about the repurposing mastery of that in week 6. Okay. Now we're talking about the amplification of that content. All right. Now, the distribution problem. So on this slide here, it says the reality check, creation versus distribution, and the algorithm rewards. 2 weeks ago, we talked about the algorithm and the benefits of the algorithm. And many of us are like, I don't want to talk algorithms. Bear with me for a second. With your algorithm, okay, the algorithms of YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, IG, these algorithms, believe it or not, they love you, okay? They want to make you as much money. They want to create as much engagements for you as possible. But they have laws and rules that we need to follow, okay? And so when we put into that what we know they want, we're rewarded, okay? It's that simple. Now, great content often fails. Why? Not because it's made poorly, but because no one sees it, okay? Even the most brilliant posts can be buried in the noise. What is the noise we're talking about? A great post can be buried in the noise. What are we talking about? What we're talking about here is the feed. What's the feed? The feed is social media in general, okay? You can create some great content and you can put it out, but no one sees it. But it's great content. And a lot of times good content is defined as poor content because we judge it based on the eyeballs that it's receiving or the engagements, okay? Most creators spend 80% of their time creating and 20% distributing. Hear me. Most creators spend 80% of their time creating their content and only 20% distributing that content. All right. We need to flip that. Okay. Successful creators flip that experience. Okay. And the ratio is more of a 80% distributing, 20% creating. Okay. I'm serious. Now, the algorithm reward, as I just mentioned before, is the reward by which understanding the algorithms of the platforms. You don't have to go and get a degree to do this or know this, okay? But the algorithm reward is understanding the platform that you're on and approaching it with that intention and being intentional, not just haphazardly last minute posting for our business. Again, we are business owners that are putting out a service, a product, something to change people's lives to help them win. And so we have to do that with some intention. All right. Platforms favor consistency and amplification signals like shares, saves, comments, all of those. I call it vanity scores that add to the engagement amplification for the algorithms. Now, why do I call it the vanity score? The vanity score, well, let me say this. When I talk about the vanity score, I'm referring to a lot of people putting too much of a prioritized emphasis on how many likes and how many followers they have. Okay. Are likes and followers important? Yes, they are. But what's more important is how many views you have, how many comments do you have, how many shares do you have, how many saves do you have? Okay. Those are those intricate elements that really tells the algorithm, okay, how is this content truly behaving? Okay. So The solution isn't creating more content. Well, shouldn't I post every day? Follow me. The solution isn't creating more content. It's systematically distributing what you already have created or already have, okay, to maximize your reach and the impact of the content. Back to last week when I talked about 9xing your experience. One piece of content can be amplified 9, 10, 12 different ways. Okay. Now, your content distribution arsenal. Okay. Owned media, your company's social accounts, email subscriber list, website, the blog, right? These channels give you complete control. However, when it's shared media, such as the Facebook group, LinkedIn communities, which are great, industry partnerships, and collaborative content, leverage existing, leverage existing content, engaged audience. That's a slightly different approach. You have your website. Follow me. You have your website, right? Which is your owned media. You put the content on there, great. But now you have your omni-channel social media, which consists of the platforms that you're putting that content on. Okay. We're looking at your arsenal, your website, shared media, the content that you're putting out. Now, what is earned media? Community shares. Okay. User generated content and organic collaborations. So let me break this down real quick. User generated content. You own a chiropractic business. You have a business where you offer services where you do Botox and micro needling and whatnot. And your consumers have given you the okay to put their face with the before and afters results on your socials. Wonderful. So now that client, that person that was serviced by your goods is like, hey, I'll create a video and say how good your services were, right? So that's the user generated content that we're talking about here. Funneling individuals into the Facebook community where this community can create what? Their community shares, putting their content in it. So now watch this now. You have your owned media, which is your website, your blog. You're putting content on there. You have your social media omni-channel approach with your YouTube channel, your LinkedIn, your Instagram, your TikTok, your Facebook community, right? And then you have your earned media, where the individuals, your clients, people that you're blessing with your services are putting content into your repository, into your ecosystem, which is your Facebook community. And then we have the strategic paid boosting. What is that? Okay. So you can say, based on what I have here, small $5 to $20 investments on top performing content to extend reach and test audience response. So a lot of times we do this with Facebook boosting. Okay. A lot of times we do this with ad spins. See, a lot of times we have really good content that's out there. We have great content. Well, how do we know we have great content? We measure it with the analytics that says this was your most performing post for this week, this month, this quarter. How about we take that and we repurpose it into a paid ad because it performed very well. Now let's put a little money behind it. So that's what we're talking about as far as strategic paid boosting. Okay. I want you to see that as your distribution arsenal. That makes sense? Okay. We'll go over this one more time, but slowly. Owned media. You're creating this media. You're putting this information. It's your HQ. It's your website. Then you have your shared media. That's your social media fingerprint. Then you have your earned media, which is the content that you're corralling or galvanizing from your community, from your clients. And then you have your best performing content that you're using to boost for ad spends. Okay, that makes sense? Okay, now distribution in action. Let's go over a real example here. So remember that one video that we talked about last week that we repurposed? Okay, so that one video with maximum impact. So start with a single repurposed video from your core content. Now, multi-platform upload. Schedule to YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, TikTok simultaneously. Simultaneously means at the same time. Okay. Then we want some email integration happening. Yes. Okay. Feature in your weekly newsletter with context and call to action. Okay. So, Derek, where do I put this newsletter? Let's start with LinkedIn. Okay. You have a newsletter on LinkedIn. It's free if you have a premium LinkedIn account. All right. Now, watch this. But this is talking about email integration. Yes. And so, what you're going to do is you're going to have your list of emails that you've gathered. Derek, how do I acquire emails? I'm glad you asked, but bear with me. You're going to then take your newsletter and send your newsletter out on a weekly basis, on a regular basis. It's a part of your arsenal. Okay. Now, community sharing. Drop into relevant Facebook groups and LinkedIn communities. Okay. So, in your Facebook group for your business, this is part of the curation process of you adding something every week, maybe twice a week. That's a community share. From the community, they're sharing something within the Facebook group. You can take things out of that Facebook group community share and place it within your LinkedIn community. Yes, you have a community in LinkedIn. Okay. Real fast. I'm going to say this real quickly. Okay. You're building your LinkedIn community by having those articles and the things I talked about in week 1 and 2, okay, that are on the worksheet. Within week 1 and 2, we talked about how your LinkedIn community is going to be established by you having a deliverable system of about 3 to 4 posts per week on your LinkedIn account. Okay. If you don't have a LinkedIn premium account, get a premium account on LinkedIn because it gives you more flexibility. It gives you a lot of things that you can do to add more eyeballs. Now, one of the hacks that I always talk about, but most people don't do it, but when they do it and they take on the strategies that we give them, they start making money with this hack. Now, watch this now. This is how you add to your LinkedIn community. And some of you may be like, Derek, you've said this 1,000 times. I'll keep iterating this because it makes money. Okay. When you're creating your videos, long form videos, you're going to download, take those videos are being long form videos, 2 minutes, 3 minutes long, 4 minutes long on your YouTube channel. You're going to go into the Chrome extensions and download a transcribing AI transcriber. Okay. That transcriber is going to transcribe everything in your video. You're going to copy and paste that whole transcription. Listen to me. You're going to copy and paste that whole transcription, and then you're going to put it into ChatGPT. It's going to write you an article. 700 words is really a nice sweet spot. And don't forget to tell Chat to give you some bullet points. Take it out of ChatGPT, copy and paste it into Grammarly. Watch this now. You put it into Grammarly. You check it. Upper right-hand corner of Grammarly is going to give you a score that tells you how grammatically fine-tuned this article is. My opinion, if it's at 70, copy it out. Post that in LinkedIn. That's your article. Now watch this. For the first month, I would say do 2 or 3 of those a week. Okay? In that second month, in your LinkedIn premium account, create a newsletter. Create a newsletter section. Give that newsletter a name like, if you're a fitness model, Fitness Weekly. Call it something, okay? This is for your business. The newsletters will be the very articles that you're getting from the video content that you're putting out. And it's going to grow. And within those articles, you're going to put CTAs in those articles. What are CTAs? Those are call to action responses. Those are links. Okay? That's your community. What I'm saying is, when I look at community sharing on this particular slide, community sharing, when you're doing all of what we're instructing you to do, there will be people that are clients, customers. They will send you content because you're going to create a repository, a drive where they can just upload their wins, right? How they feel, their testimonials. And you're going to take this content and you're going to put this on your social media. It's going to make you the authority. Okay. It just works. What happens is the system starts working for you. Okay. Now, essential tools and workflows. This is very important for businesses. This is all business related. Okay. As a business owner, I'm a business owner. There's a lot of moving parts with business, as you all know. And when we have so many moving parts, when we have to think about social media, it's like, man, can I just post something? But we can't just post something because we want to maximize results. We want to drive revenue. Okay. So I've talked about this before, okay? But we're going to go over it. Scheduling platforms. This is all about the amplification of your content, okay? Scheduling platforms, email integrations, automation hacks, as well as distribution checklists. This is very important. Please do not be overwhelmed by all this. Do not refuse to be overwhelmed by this. It's not hard. It's very simple. When it comes to your scheduling platforms, there are many of them out there. I've talked about them. I have them here listed. Okay. There's Later, there's Buffer, there's Hootsuite, there's MetroCool. You even have the one that I always accuse of being very expensive, Sprout Social. Okay. I'm a Buffer fan. We love Buffer. Which one do we use? Okay. We at AKIT Social, we have Go High Level. And within Go High Level, it does a lot of the heavy lifting for us that I'm talking about for you guys. So for our clients, we integrate things within our Go High Level to make sure that things are delivered on time so that content calendars look good. If you're doing the social media lifting and you have a social media team, if you have a social media manager, director, or a coordinator, okay, give them these instructions because it makes their jobs easier. Okay. If you have a social media team and there is no scheduling platform to put out your social media deliverables, not only are you working too hard, but that's not smart. Okay. Because sometimes things get lost in translation. Upload first, it gets it out, and you should have a planned content calendar. Moving right along. Email integration. We used to use MailChimp. We don't need to use MailChimp. Again, Go High Level is fantastic for us, but MailChimp, ConvertKit is pretty cool. Constant, what was that one? Constant Contact, pretty solid. I'm a MailChimp fan, but having a email integration process works wonders when you can just send out emails, personalize those emails. We sent you guys emails to come to this webinar. Okay. It works. All right. Automation hacks like Zapier. Okay. To create automated workflows. You need that. Okay. Because you'll know what posts and what deliverables are going out. You can look at your content calendar. You know the email integration is working for you. It just works. Okay. When you post on Instagram, automatically share it to Twitter, add to your email queue, or notify your team. See, so these are things that it just does for you. I put Zapier here because Zapier just works. It's very solid. Okay. But there's other services out there based on your subjective opinion. But this is all about your workflow. Okay. And not being overwhelmed with all the social media heavy lifting. All right. And then we have the distribution checklist. Create a systematic checklist for every piece of content to ensure nothing falls through the cracks. I just mentioned that. Okay. Now, when you're starting off and you don't have a social media strategy, this might seem a little bit like down the road. And if you're just starting out, the things I'm talking about now, they're more like 3 months in. Now, you can start doing this in the second month. Your first month, no content, no social media fingerprint. This is a bit overkill. All right. But this is week 7. All right. Now, your content amplification loop. What's this look like? What's the recycling process? What becomes the day in, day out, week to week, quarter to quarter process? All right. So publish your content on primary platform with optimized timing. Your initial posts. Okay. Now, from there, cross-platform shares. What does that mean? That means that, and I know I talk against this, but I talk against it from a surface standpoint of not putting intention behind it. But when we say cross-platform share to relevant groups, communities, and personal profiles. A lot of times people take that and say, oh, so I did a podcast, so I'm going to cut that and just add this to my LinkedIn, add this to my Instagram, add this to my TikTok. No, that's not what I'm saying. Okay. It's nothing wrong with doing that as long as those individual cuts are pre-edited that fit that platform. But back to cross-platform share to relevant groups. Your posts that you put out need to go to the platforms that are relevant, that need that content, such as your Facebook community. Okay. Email amplification. If you're doing things like a webinar, if you're doing a live, if you're doing a live Q&A and you want people there, because you want to appear as the authority because you are the authority on the subject matter you're talking about, then you can have an email integration with like in MailChimp, they have some cool themes that you can create that sends them out systematically. Okay. Now, I'm not talking about your email campaign to the point where it's a drip feed and it's a customer journey. I'm not talking about that just yet. Okay. In our next series, we might talk about that, but this is more or less for your lives, your webinars or whatnot. You want to create an email integration. This amplification process really works. Like it really does a wonderful job of bringing eyeballs to what you're doing. Okay. So feature in newsletters and send targeted notifications to subscribers. So that newsletter that's in LinkedIn, okay, you can add links within those articles to justify or to clarify and bring eyeballs to the email amplification process. Then you have your team mobilization. What does that mean? Okay, so you run a business, right? So encourage team members and brand advocates to share and engage. So if you have a company that has multiple employees, or it's just you and your partner, okay, the two of you can do things on your own individual personal socials to drive business to what it is you're doing. This works very well in Facebook. Okay. Some of us have 2, 3, 4, 5,000 people following us on Facebook, right? But a lot of us feel like, I don't really want to talk about my business on Facebook. That's really my personal. I don't really want to do that. Don't think like that. We're not telling you to spam your Facebook community. That's your personal. We're saying people need to know what it is you do. People need to know how you're winning. Okay. So it's nothing wrong with that. Team mobilization, making sure that you're putting your team in front of the camera as well. If you have 5 people that work for you, it's good that people can see that your community, that your team, their services that they're yielding from you is coming from these cool people. Who are these individuals? Let's highlight the profiles of the people that are on your team. This works in social media. Okay. This is additional wonderful content and it does create authority. These posts and reels go really far on LinkedIn because LinkedIn is based on high impression rates. Okay. And lastly, my voice is failing me here. Bear with me. Strategic reposts. Okay. So what are strategic reposts? A repost at optimal times for different audience segments. So when it comes to a strategic repost, I lean towards the best performing content. Okay. The best performing content. We posted something last month. So Derek, are you saying that I posted something last month and it is sort of evergreen, so post it again? No, I'm saying because it's sort of evergreen, if it's a great performing post from times past, yeah, if we can reuse it, let's reuse it. And we talked about it earlier. Why not just, if we're going to reuse it, let's go ahead and also throw some money behind it and boost it. Okay. On Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, through ads. All right. So this flow, the initial post, cross-platform share, email amplification, or more or less email integration amplification, I should say, team mobilization, and strategic repost all works together. Okay. We go over this in the worksheet. Now, success story, real quick. 10,000 impressions from one post. That's crazy. But if you spent a lot of time on LinkedIn, that's not hard to believe. So let's go through this. A marketing agency took a single behind the scene, we call it a BTS video, and turned it into a viral sensation through systematic distribution. Now, by the way, I'm not going to call this so sensational because this happens quite often nowadays. Okay, this is easy to do. Now, day one, post on Instagram Reels and TikTok. Okay, in establishing 500 initial views, that's not hard. Okay, day 2, shared in 5 relevant Facebook groups. Wait, I only have one Facebook group. I know you have one Facebook group. This is saying that post, whether it's a reel, whether you did a short, it was shared in 5 relevant to the subject of the content Facebook groups. Okay, watch this. Day 3, this same content, okay, was featured in weekly email to 2,000 subscribers. Well, Derek, I don't have 2,000 subscribers. I get that. We'll later talk about how you can increase your email list. Okay. Freebies is a wonderful way to increase your email list. A wonderful way. But in this regard, people are creating their email lists And then by day 3, they're sending that same post, right, in a different format, right? They're shooting that out as an emailer, back to that email amplification we're talking about, okay, to 2,000 subscribers. As you see here, the first day generated 500 initial views. Second day, 1,200 additional views. And by the third day, there were 800 clicks. That was the email blast. Day 4, team of 8, back to your team, right? A team of 8 or 8 individuals that you know that say, hey, I love you. I want to support your business. Hey, I just want to help you. What do you want me to do? I'm glad you asked. I want you to take this content and share it on your personal LinkedIn profile. This brand, it was a brand, right? It was a brand that is a part of ACAD, generated 2,500 impressions by doing this. Now, that 2,500 impressions, true story, this 2,500 impressions was across all of those platforms, all of those individuals' LinkedIn accounts. Now, that's not super great, but what's great about it is that that piece of content was able to generate that many, or I should say 2,500 impressions from those 8 individuals. More than likely, these 8 individuals, their LinkedIn accounts, they're not updating it all the time. Okay. That's a pretty low number for, let's say, a business's LinkedIn account as far as impressions for a post, in my personal opinion. However, across the 8, it was additional eyeballs, so it mattered. And then on day 7, watch this. That same post was reposted with new captions during peak hours. 5,000 additional eyeballs were put on that post. It generated literally 10,000 total impressions, 150 new followers, and 12 qualified leads. True story. Again, as I stated before, this is common practice nowadays. Okay? This is very common. Very common. And I'm going to say this. Any and every business known to man right now can do this. This is so not hard. Okay? Because we're talking about billions of eyeballs on these platforms. Okay? 12 leads. We have clients we're talking to, potential clients we're trying to bring in. They need referrals. They need leads. Okay? They need people to buy their courses. Okay? And these strategies, if ACAD Social is not implementing them for you, you can do this yourself and it works. Okay? Now, your content, your complete content strategy. So create, repurpose, distribute, amplify, and start all over again. Okay? Great content without great distribution is just noise. And I'm going to say limited noise, because you're not going to last long, because the feed is always offering a plethora of content. Okay? The key is to master both a sustainable and growing audience. The way that people are going to keep their eyeballs with what you're offering, okay? The way people are going to do that is by you regularly submitting content, your deliverables with intention every week on your omni-channel social media network. You're pulling content from the people that are your clients, content creators. They're putting their content on you're taking their content and putting it within your platforms. Okay. It becomes cyclical, but it becomes a system by which you're allowing individuals to win, right? And you become the mainstay. And everyone wants your content. Everyone wants your services. And that's where your community, your Facebook community grows. Okay. It just simply grows. So your mission: build a comprehensive distribution checklist for every piece of content you create. Okay? It's very important. Include platform-specific specifications, right? Everything needs to be optimized. This is how you optimize it. Okay? Timing strategies and amplification tactics. This is all done when you're batching your content. Batching, I believe we talked about in week 5 or 4, but batching the content that you're going to be putting out for your services and brands matters. Okay? Now, I know I have on this slide that next week I'm going to be talking about analytics mastery. That's not set in stone. The slide deck is done, but at this point, it's a little bit too technical. All right. And I don't want you to fall asleep. I don't want you to fall asleep as I'm going through analytic strategies and looking at the numbers. And so I'm thinking about simplifying it or just pivoting in a different direction. I'm going to be very transparent with you. Okay. I want you to find that this social media blueprint webinar is not only engaging and insightful, but our goal at AIC is to make sure that you can take what we're giving you and just immediately start implementing it. Okay. Social media is not a microwave experience. Let me just say that. It's not. A microwave experience is very quick. This is not get rich quick. Okay. This is strategy. Strategy takes a little time. But once you create that muscle of knowing how to create your deliverables and you're putting the content out there, it becomes a love letter to your business because you're establishing these relationships whereby, yes, you may have a whole lot of people that have come and joined your Facebook community and none of them have bought your product, but that's okay. They're there. And how you cultivate that community is going to matter. Okay. So that's what our services are for. For any questions, if there's any questions in the chat, I would love to answer your questions. I love questions. But again, free consultations, scan the QR code. Okay. Hit our calendar. When do you want to talk? We'll give you a full hour of just spitballing, and we'll be in a cool think tank, you and I, and have a great time. I'll even sit down with your company's social media team and we can do an audit, look at what's working, what's not working, what type of micro pivots you need to make. It's our pleasure. Okay. But thank you so very much for joining us today. This is week 7. We talked about some cool amplifications and distributions of our content. Thank you once again. And be sure to jump over into the portal. And if you haven't seen all of the other pieces of content from the weeks before, the worksheets are there, and dive on in. All right. You guys be good.